Hello dear students, hope you all are keeping safe and fine. Today we are going to discuss the second part of lesson number 2, Lost Spring, of your book Flamingo. In the first part we had discussed author's encounter with a boy who was a rag picker of Simapuri, a slum area on the periphery of Delhi. And we had discussed the plight of street children forced into labor early in their childhood and denied the opportunity of schooling. Now in this part we are going to discuss the life of a bangle maker whose name is Mukesh, living in Firozabad. Here we are going to discuss the callousness of society and the political class to the suffering of the poor. So let's start the lesson. So students, again I have divided the chapter or the second part of this chapter that we are going to discuss in this video into number of points. You go through the points and I'll be explaining it. So the name of the second part of the chapter is I Want to Drive a Car. So in Firozabad, the author meets Mukesh, who insists on being his own master, and he wishes to be a motor mechanic. Now the author Anis Jung asks him if he knows anything about cars. So Mukesh replies that he would learn to drive a car. The author feels that his dream is like a mirage amidst the dusty streets of Firozabad, because every other family in Firozabad is engaged in the business of bangle making. And Firozabad, as you know, is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where generations after generations have been involved in this business. So basically Mukesh wanted to be his own master. He wanted to become a motor mechanic. So this was another encounter with poverty. Whose encounter? Anis Jung's, the author's encounter with poverty, when he is meeting the young boy Mukesh in the second part of the chapter. Now students, the people of Firozabad involved their children in the bangle making industry without knowing that it is illegal for children to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures, in dingy cells without air and light. If the law is enforced, about almost 20,000 children would be out of the hot furnaces where they work day and night, and often losing the brightness of their eyes. So Mukesh proudly announces that his house is being rebuilt and volunteers to take the author home. When he met the author one day, he announced this thing. So author agreed to go with him to his house, and they walked down stinking lanes choked with garbage, and there were wobbly doors on every house, and there was no windows, where families of humans and animals coexist in a primeval state. So they enter a half-built shack, one part of which is thatched with dead grass, and a frail young woman was cooking the evening meal for the whole family. Now this young woman was a wife of Mukesh's elder brother, and though much older in years, she had the respect of a bahu, and she veiled her face when Mukesh's father enters. The children, the next thing that is given in the chapter is about that when the author had reached to Mukesh's place, Mukesh's house, she had met his grandmother, and her grandmother was sitting on the bed on a charpai, and she was cursing the family. She was cursing that it is seemed that this is a curse for every bangle making families, and she said that it is a God-given lineage. Okay? So Mukesh's father has toiled hard all his life, first as a tailor and then as a bangle maker. Still the poor fellow has been unable to renovate his house or send his 2 sons to school. All he could manage to do is to teach them what he knows about the art of bangle making. So this is how both the brothers are carrying on the same kind of work which their father has been doing from the last many years. So Mukesh's grandmother has seen her husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass bangles, and she believes in destiny. And she raised a question that can a God-given lineage ever be broken? Born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles and bangles of all hues and colors. So this is how their life is going on there in a small hutments, and they have also lost the spring of their life, lost spring, the happiness, the luster of life, everything was lost. So in dark hutments, next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps, mm, small boys and girls are sitting with their fathers and mothers, welding pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. And their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. They often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. So this is very common there for the small children, with the small children who are working there in dingy cells. And at the age of adulthood, when they reach to the adulthood, they lose their eyesight. This is what given in your chapter. So the author notices a young girl, Savita, in a drab pink dress, helping her mother in making bangles, and her hands move like a machine. So Anise wonders if she understands the sanctity of the bangles for Indian women. The sad irony will suddenly dawn upon her when she will become a bride like the old woman sitting beside her. In a voice drained of joy, she tells the author that she has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire life. The mother of Savita, the young girl, small girl, this mother told this thing to the author. So their plight is that in spite of working day and night, and almost their whole life has gone into this, they are unable to enjoy even one full meal in a day. Okay, and if they dare so to come out this kind of a working, they are not supported by anyone. When this thing was asked by the author Anise Chung to Mukesh, he had told a very different kind of a story to them. So one wonders if Mukesh's father has achieved what many have failed to achieve in their lifetime. He has a roof over his head. And the cry of not having money can be heard in every household of Firozabad. Nothing has changed over the years. Years of hardship have killed all their hopes and dreams. So the author asks a group of young men to organize themselves in a cooperative. And she learns a horrific truth that even if they got organized, they are taken to jail for doing something illegal and are beaten up. And there is no leader among them. The author finds two distinct worlds in Firozabad. One is the exploited family caught in the vortex of poverty and the stigma of the caste in which they were born. The other is a vicious circle of those who exploit them. And these are the sahukas, the middlemen, the politicians, the lawmakers, the policemen, and the bureaucrats. So these have created such a burden that a child accepts this as naturally and his father did. So to do something else would mean to dare. And daring is not a part of growing up with them. So now the ending part of this portion in your chapter is, we have found a ray of hope. When the author Anise Chung had come to know that Mukesh has dreamt of something, he wanted to become a motor mechanic, it implies that there is still a ray of hope lying there. The young people have not stopped dreaming. They are dreaming, but they don't have any clue that how they should go to fulfill that dream, to achieve that what they have dreamt of for their life. So the author is filled with joy when she finds that Mukesh thinks differently. He is filled with hope, and his dream of being a motor mechanic is still alive in his eyes, and he is willing to dare. So Anise asks if he also dreams of flying a plane. Mukesh replies in a very negative way, and he said in the end that he is content to dream of cars. as very few planes fly over Firozabad. So there is a little hope, little scope of becoming a pilot or flying a plane. But yes, he has dreamt of something which seems to be possible for him, that is to become a motor mechanic. So in this part, what we have come to know that here, where no one dares to dream, where people have lost the ability of taking initiative or dreaming, Mukesh has a dream of driving a car and becoming a motor mechanic. Like others, Mukesh is caught in between the poverty of his family and the vicious circle of sahukars and middlemen. The author feels that Mukesh is a rebel and will succeed against all odds. And at the same time, she feels that Mukesh's dream is a mirage because he still has a long way to go. So there is a possibility of getting failed, but yes, undoubtedly, there is a ray of hope. So this is all about this portion of this chapter, dear children. I hope you have understood it clearly, and when you'll be able to arrange the book for you, you go through the chapter, have a self reading, and it will give you a more understanding, more clear understanding. Thank you.